Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we are talking about emotional avoidance, or, well, we'll get into it a little bit deeper, dissociation. So that's more the clinical part of this conversation we're having today, which I know you don't know anything about. So I'm going to teach you about it a little bit. So emotional
I don't know anything about period or
dissociation,
just before this actual moment.
dissociation. Yeah, because I know you're going to be like, what are you talking about? So emotional avoidance is something, and I've talked about it on previous episodes. I think I touch upon it in quite a few of the episodes. Today, we're just going to really needle down on when I see or when we are avoiding something emotionally in our lives and what that is about for many of us. Okay. So when we think about emotional avoidance, I think we go, okay, well, duh, that's obvious. I know what that is. I mean, what do we picture? We picture maybe someone in our life being in denial. Maybe we picture or we see them shutting down. You might see this in yourself maybe a little bit. You have some insight into you and you're like, yeah, I get shut down. That's how I emotionally avoid people, places, and things in my life. Someone who just refuses to talk about their feelings, right? But that's not what I have seen after 30 years of counseling clients and coaching people in the last 10 plus years. These are people who I sit across from, for the most part, have been pretty high functioning individuals, people who are smart and at some level quite self aware about who they are and what gets them lit up and what shuts them down, right? These are people who can talk about their lives. They can talk about their relationships. That's why they come to therapy to a most extent, right? And that's why they seek out coaching because they want something a little bit better. They can explain their patterns. These are people who we did those 2 episodes on patterns. They see their patterns and they can explain them. But here's the thing. Many of these individuals that I have worked with, they can do all those things, but they can't actually feel what's going on inside of them. They can't feel it. And that's where emotional avoidance lives, right? It's quiet, it's functional, they're functional. It's socially acceptable, really, to be an emotional avoider. And it's incredibly costly over time to these people. All right.
So this could go one of two ways in my head already. So this is the person that could be, but chooses not to be, is one option, right? Or this is the person that is aware, but just can't do it. Like there's some scientifical reason. I don't think it can be both. I
And
think
that's
it
we're
has,
gonna
has to be the second one. It has to be. Okay.
we have to talk about that.
Okay.
Okay. So what is emotional avoidance? What actually is it? All right. So let's just define it. I'm going to define it for you pretty clearly. Emotional avoidance is any strategy, conscious or unconscious, so that's important, conscious or unconscious, that helps you not fully experience an emotion. All right. So it's something that you consciously or unconsciously are doing where you are not processing a thought, a feeling, something that's coming up for you. You're not moving through it, right? You're just not feeling it. You're not feeling it. And here's a reframe I think that most people need. This is not a flaw in you. This is not a flaw in us. It's what it is. It's a protective strategy that we have developed over time. It's a protective strategy that your nervous system learned at some point in your life that when feeling something fully felt totally overwhelming or unsafe or just too much, you sort of shut down. Like, nope, not going there. Gonna avoid that. So your brain adapted to it. Your brain's like, okay, this is what we do. This is what we do when we get hit with something that is trying to percolate, trying to come up. At some level, we kind of feel it like, nope, nope, nope. Let's tamp that back down. And we do, right? So the problem is it doesn't update automatically. Our brain doesn't update. We just stay in that old pattern of avoid, 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 avoid. And for many of us, for many years, emotional avoidance works very well. But at some point, there will be diminishing returns in that you, at some level, will see it's not working for you. It will affect relationships, especially intimate relationships with family members, lovers. People will start to be like, what's up with that? They won't even talk about this or that. I'm trying to have a deeper conversation with him or her or them, and they're not doing it. Okay. I guess we're not going to talk about that again. And it's a shutdown for that person, they are avoiding.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I mean, it does, and it kind of contradicts what we just said. But yeah, I mean, so it's both. It is both. It's a conscious choice.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I
Right?
was probably daydreaming when you asked me that.
Okay, that's fine. But I'm speaking for the people who are all like, well, wait a second. Now, which is it? So it's like it is a conscious choice, maybe. And it also might be that your body inside your head is not able to go there.
Right.
Right. There's something inside your head,
Yeah.
whether it's family of origin.
No, I
or
missed the first part. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you're right.
it's
Yeah.
something that's like got you, it's like a roadblock inside where it's like you can go up to a certain point and then something else clicks in where it's like, I can't go beyond that.
Right.
Right. Okay.
So what does emotional avoidance look like in everyday life for people? This is where I think a lot of people miss it because it doesn't look like avoidance. It doesn't look like you're trying to get away from something. It looks like your personality. It looks like your habits, right? You're just air quote way of being, right? It can be someone who's chronically busy. You're always doing something. They're always doing something, right? But when things slow down, think about this for yourself. If you're watching or listening, when things slow down, you might feel restless. You might feel agitated, maybe even anxious. That's not just productivity in your life, your chronic busyness. That's an avoidance of stillness, of staying quiet. And I have talked about this in other episodes because it's so prevalent.
Yeah.
And here it's a piece of avoidance as well as the other topics we've discussed, right? It's an avoidance of stillness because stillness brings up feelings. It does. That's why so many clients in my past that I have talked to don't want to meditate. They don't want to sit still. They don't want to be quiet. Prayer is one thing. And I heard, what's her name? The former beach volleyball Olympic athlete, Carrie Walsh Jennings. I heard her on a podcast many years ago. She said it so well. She was being asked about something about prayer meditation as a way of, focusing and getting ready for competitions. And they were talking about her spiritual life. And she said, prayer is me talking to God. Meditation is me listening to God. And I love that. I thought, oh, that's so well said. Prayer is talking, like sharing, talking, revealing from me, my heart, what's deep inside of me. Meditation is the quiet. It's the silence. It's learning to sit still and be available to what comes in. And when we are emotionally avoidant, that is very difficult, dare I say almost impossible for certain individuals to do.
Yeah.
Until they've started to do the work.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. I cannot tell you how many times over the years I've had clients say to me, I don't want to do that, Anna. I don't know. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. And I will gently prod, gently encourage over sessions. Okay. All right. And I say, just do 2 minutes. Just do 1 minute. Do 1 minute. It's very difficult to sit with ourselves. I mean, we can sit and they can sit with all kinds of people and sit in difficult conversations and uncomfortable situations. But sitting alone with oneself is really difficult because now it's with me.
Yeah. Well, it's me with me. And if you're choosing to be silent, then you're creating space for other things to happen, right? If you're sitting there talking, even if it's to yourself,
Right.
even if it's inside yourself, but you're on the go, you're on the offensive, you're still not creating any type of space for anything else to happen.
Right. So, what does it look like in everyday life? Chronic busyness. Another one is really overthinking everything. You analyze, you process, you air quote, you figure things out, and you're really good. You're really good at that. You do figure things out. You know that about yourself, and people in your life probably know that about you as well. It can be a little bit of an ego build. Like, I'm the person who figures things out. I'm the fixer. But your thinking has replaced feeling. You could explain why you're upset, but you actually haven't felt it. You could explain it all day long, and you haven't sat with and felt your feelings around it. You get irritable instead of being vulnerable, right? You feel annoyed. So that's an easy one for, I think, all humans to have that feeling. It's easy to feel annoyance. You feel annoyed, you feel short, you're reactive, and you know it. But underneath, that irritation is almost always something that's more vulnerable. I always say, irritation and anger are the easiest feelings to have. It feels good to express anger, and it's on the surface, and I don't even fully understand why neuroscientifically. That's not my background. I would love to have somebody tell me what that's about. Why is it? Because I've seen it. Anecdotally, the evidence is there in my office. I mean, I see that anger that comes out very easily. But asking someone to go a little bit deeper and to talk about their hurt, because underneath anger and irritation is hurt. Talk about their hurt. Talk about their sadness. They're like, oh yeah, no, I can't. Yeah, I can't touch that.
Yeah.
Can't touch that. I don't want to do that. I don't know. I don't want to go there.
Well, it's almost like they're self distracting, right? Like they're like, if I keep this hot on the hot plate, right, then I don't have to deal with this one,
Exactly.
right?
The more painful one.
The more painful
The more painful one,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
So, but what's underneath is irritation. It's like I said, it's always more vulnerable. There is that hurt there. There is that disappointment. There is that feeling unseen. I feel unseen by everybody in my family, my friends, the people all around me, right? Anger is safer. So your system is going to go there naturally, right? So, what else does avoidance look like in our lives? It looks like numbing behaviors. I mean, we numb out. It can be, you all know this, scrolling on your phone, eating your feelings, drinking your feelings. I hear that all the time. Constant noise.
Yeah.
I think noise is something we forget about. We keep, always at noise, chaos, talking. Maybe it's music, which I love music, but all the time music. Look at what that's about for you. What is that about? What's going on here, right? We see it mostly in the scrolling. We see mostly in it. I mean, I was eating my feelings. Yeah, I'm drinking my feelings. It's all the numbing behaviors, right? And we do this. It's not because we're weak. So I think it's important to take that out of your head. If you're going there right now, listening to this, take that out of your head. It's not because you're weak. It's because silence does create space for feelings that you just don't want to feel. So let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
It creates a space for feelings, and you're like, yeah, I don't want to do that. All right. And I think also, we're avoiding hard conversations. Really, I don't want drama. It's not worth it. I'll just let it go. I mean, that turns into resentment every single damn time, right? I mean, I know I've seen this in my family of origin where we avoid hard conversations because we don't want drama, because drama is a lot. Drama is taxing emotionally. Drama can be exhausting.
Yeah.
And I think I won't speak for my family members, my family of origin, my siblings, even with our kids, if and when it comes up, it's like we do it more. I mean, I do it more usually with my own children because I've raised them and sort of taught them in all of this. My adult siblings, we deal and we cope, and some of us are more avoiders than others. And I think that even I think to myself, I don't know if it's worth it. I know if it's worth it because, there will be drama. I also don't want, and I'm all about, doing like the deep dive session, but sometimes it does go on and on and on and on in conversation. And I have to be really firm with my boundaries because conversations can go into, when I was 10 years old, you said this or that to me. Like it can go into these deep, dramatic conversations about our past, unresolved childhood issues that I'm like, okay, it's now been 45 minutes to an hour. I want to start to wrap this up. And they can go on and on. I think that sometimes I don't always have the emotional energy or really the time for it. And I have to be really firm with my boundaries. And you have to be really geared up for that. You have to be like, I have to be well rested. I have to be well fed. You know what I mean? I have to be like
Right.
in a good energy
Be
space
ready to go.
do that. Yeah.
Well, you think about, so that's a good point. So some of those comments that come up about, well, back in, 1970, whatever,
Right.
right? That all that is really just kind of taking the focus of what the conversation probably should be about, and it's moving that scope to a different direction.
Right.
Right. And it's there.
But as families, we can, and couples, you can get off track.
Well,
That's what happens. We get up. Yeah.
And maybe that's intentional, right? Maybe it's intentional because the person doesn't want to go any deeper with the actual issue.
Right.
Or maybe it's just that person just likes to talk and they don't really, it's it's very scattered. You know what I mean? And the conversation can shift, and they're good with it. The conversation could be like all over the place,
Yeah.
and they're super comfortable with that. Whereas the person that's trying to get into a deeper conversation with the actual issue is like, wait a second, what are we actually talking about right now? You know what I mean? You keep shifting it
Get
on
off
me.
track. Let's bring
Yeah.
up old stuff. And it's
Yeah.
like, I know this from, my couples training. Let's stick to one issue at a time. And then it's every issue comes up. But I don't want to be that's the thing, is that I have this knowledge in my head, but I don't want to be the therapist because I'm the sister.
Right.
I'm the family member. I don't want to be the therapist in this. And I don't want to manage, and control the session, which I don't do when it comes to actually content what we're talking about. But I know that, air quote, the rules.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to do that. That is a big thing for me.
Yeah. But
I'm
it's
like, I don't
not,
want to do this
as
right now.
you know, it's not your job to fix anything.
No, it's not.
Right?
It's not. But I want to, in a very nice and sort of diplomatic and kind way, say, okay, we can't talk about, and I will sometimes do that. Like, we can't spend all the time talking about, 1980. Like, I can't do it. I'm going to get off the phone soon,
Yeah.
Yeah. But sometimes.
But see, that's your agenda, right? And then there's another person on the other side.
They have their
of this.
agenda.
100%.
their
And
agenda.
it's like, how do you
So I
kind of
throw
meet
them
in the
grace.
middle? Yeah.
So I throw them grace.
Yeah.
And I go there and I try to, I can't just talk,
Yeah.
and I try to, in a very gentle way, steer them back to the topic at hand.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah. And I think the tough part in that scenario is that you don't want to be the person that's always conceding, right? Like you're willing, if the conversation is about 1980, you're willing to go to like maybe like 1987, like on a scale, right? You're willing to kind of go towards 1980,
Right.
but you'd rather stay in 2026.
Right.
And on the other side, the person is like, no, we're staying in like June of 1980.
I
Right?
know.
And we
I
don't
know.
go out
And
of that era.
And I do think, and this is not everybody.
No,
It
of
just
course
doesn't
not.
happen. That just doesn't even happen often. It has happened. And I think it happens in families. If you have some sort of closeness and you have some sort of openness about, you have some level of emotional intimacy with one another, it's naturally going to happen. I think for the most part, it's really wonderful and it's really great that you can have those conversations with your family members. I think it's wonderful. I see families where there ain't no way in hell they're talking about this stuff. So I do appreciate that about my family members, and my clients' families that can do it. Wonderful, because they have the capacity to do hard work. It's just you have to have limits and boundaries around it so it doesn't go on and on and on and on.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
The people who don't do it, who are always avoiding these hard conversations, like I said, that builds resentment, and every time. Okay, so, saying you're fine when you're not, it's like emotional avoiders can tend to be like, I'm fine. I said this a few sessions ago. I keep calling these coaching episode sessions, coaching. I keep these podcast recordings that we're doing. Did you see me? I'm like, sessions, coaching sessions.
I feel like I'm in a session, so it's fine. We can call it that.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny how I keep saying that. These conversations.
Episodes.
Okay, let me start over.
Okay.
I said it a few episodes back,
Yeah.
and I'm saying it again today. Saying you're fine when you're not. Like, I'm fine. That can be big emotional avoidance in certain individuals, right? Because what you're doing is you're overriding your internal experience, right? So, and why are you doing it? You're doing it to stay functional, to stay likable, and to stay low maintenance. Like, I don't want to be disliked. I want to be low maintenance, like I just said earlier. Like, I don't want drama. I'm not bringing drama. You have to think about that, though. And I know a lot of people who do this, saying you're fine. You're really not fine.
Yeah.
And you're avoiding having hard conversations. So for that person, what you need to work on is finding a way to have hard conversations, which, by the way, little commercial here. If you are needing help with anything I'm talking about in today's episode, reach out to me for coaching. This is what I do. This is nuanced, the work I do with each one of you. So, for example, I help you learn how to have hard conversations. Many of you never learned it and don't know how to do it. This is what I teach. There are skills that I know that you don't know that I'm going to give to you, that I will teach you. Okay. And it's a case by case basis. We do a deep dive on you. We do a deep dive on your life and what you need, what you're stuck with, what is pain was causing you pains in your life. And I'm going to help you really reach transformation. It's transformational what you will feel like, what you will be like, and how you will show up for yourself at the end of our coaching together. I mean, and I might do this. I may have a coaching client come on because they are the ones who can tell you what it's like to work with me. All right. I am not like most other life coaches out there. I've been doing this a long time and I've got that mental health background. Like my clients say to me all the time, you have a radar, Anna, and you bring out and you can see in me what I haven't even said to you and you bring it out. And just last week, my client goes, how did you know that? You just hit the nail on the head. Yes, that is exactly what I was feeling and what I'm thinking. That was exactly my experience. I had coaching client who texted me. She was like, I just saw your notes because I share my notes and there's action steps in there for them. She's like, I can't, like, are you in my head? Are you in my head? This is unbelievable. So I am tooting my own horn here, but you need to know because I think in a sea of coaches, and even a sea of therapists, I'm the real deal.
Yeah.
And I'm good at what I do. Been doing it a long time. I think this is a gift from God. Sometimes I wonder why, why am I doing this, God? And I think that it's something, it's the gift, it's my calling. It's a vocation, my vocation in life. I was talking to Dean Cardenazis. Remember I interviewed him back in 21, 22, the very well-known
Early on.
long distance runner. He was in the
Yeah.
podcast. He's done all these ultras. He's amazing endurance runner. And we were first talking and I was telling him what I do. And he goes, he's such a sweet man. He goes, you're doing God's work. And it was like, I rarely hear that, it was like it was so good to hear that. He's like, you're doing God's work. You keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Why? And I think you should stress. So that's a good visual. You have a sea of coaching. You have a sea of therapy.
Yep.
Right.
Therapists.
Two very different approaches
Mhm.
potentially.
Mhm.
And you are a hybrid because of your training, because of your education, because of your background, because of your years of experience. You have a foot in
And
each.
my years as a triathlete, I use sport performance quite a bit with my coaching clients.
Yeah. But the approach,
Yeah.
I think what you're trying to say is the approach that you take comes from both sides of that fence, right? Where typically somebody would go to somebody and they would get one side or the opposite side, right?
Yeah.
Fair to say?
Yeah. And if you're watching on YouTube, I keep messing with my microphone.
Yeah. What's up with that?
Because my sisters, when I saw them last weekend,
Okay.
it's nothing like family. They're like, we see you. We see your YouTube. You see me on social media, these clips. And they said, your microphone is in your face, so we can't see your face, and you need to put your microphone down. They're like, yeah, I noticed that too. So like, put the microphone down next time. So I keep messing with it because I went back to my regular spot. And they're like, put the microphone down. So your microphone is still up high.
I know. Shout out to the girls, and I'm going to keep
Shout out to my sisters. Nothing like sisters to tell you, what you don't know you needed to hear. They're like, put your microphone down. We need to see your face. And I said, I'll be really honest. I said, well, I don't like my profile because I have a turkey neck now that I'm older. I have a turkey neck. I have jowls. And they're like, no, you don't. Put the microphone down. We want to see your face. We don't want to see that big microphone in front of your face. I'm like, all right. So I'm putting the microphone down today. Okay, sisters, is this okay? Do you see this? Do you like it? All right. Okay. So what's the cost of being an emotional avoider? What's the cost to all of us if this is, sort of how we're rolling in life?
Go back to what you said right before that. So I think the thing, because you said I'm fine, like that's a typical right. That's just a generic like stop talking to me response. So I think that's great advice.
Or I don't want to feel my feelings, so I'm fine.
Right. But I think that is great advice for younger parents, right? Because that's always you ask how was your day at school? How did it go with this or that? It was fine. Right. Like, and we've allowed our kids at a super young age to be good with
that's a little bit of a different scenario. And I would speak to you differently about that. You're gonna have to put this microphone up because it's way too low now.
Okay.
You do. That's a little bit of a different scenario though, because kids, when they get in the car, they first come home from school, that's what they say. And they are as a whole, we could do another. They're decompressing. They don't want to, they're just they just are. They're decompressing.
I get
and they're
all that.
also in that weird phase in their lives, especially as like tweens and early adolescents, where they don't really want to talk to you about how their day was because they know mom or dad's always going to say, how was your day?
Yeah.
I mean, how many, the kids all did that. Like, I'm fine.
Of course.
They don't want to talk to you. And
Right.
they're all up in their heads about, school or grades or their social lives. you have to find ways to connect with them other than, also asking them how was school. And I found it when I was driving them to and from practices. I would turn the radio down or turn the music down, and there was a parallel sitting, so they're both looking forward. They don't have to make eye contact with you. Sometimes it was late at night when they're about to go to bed, or I'd go in to say goodnight to them, and they would, be more relaxed, and the day had come to an end. There are ways with kids that you can connect with them where they don't say I'm fine.
Right. And I think that's my point, is that your approach as a young parent should shift, right?
Yeah.
Because now we've created a whole generation of like, fine, right? We've allowed it because we allowed it early on.
I think psychologically savvy parents are onto this. I do.
Maybe,
I think if they have any interest in parenting, or they read any, like, even self-help psychology books about parenting, and you have a tween or a teen, you do know that, or maybe even for some of you have younger kids, we're going to get that, and we know it. And there's lots of great, tips out there for how to manage that and how to connect more with your kid.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So the cost of avoidance. I mean, avoidance, it works. I mean, that's the thing, is that in the beginning, for many of us, it really works short term, right? It does give immediate relief for what is coming up for us, right? But over time and in the long run, it does and can create anxiety in us. Like I said, overthinking, emotional disconnection, not just from others, from yourself, resentment, and repeating the same patterns over and over and over again, right? Because what you avoid doesn't disappear. I think that's really important for us to really get conscious in ourselves about that. What you avoid doesn't disappear. It just kind of goes over there and hangs out in the corner. It doesn't go away.
Right.
Or it goes underground. Like, we say in psychology, it goes underground.
Yeah.
And it can start running your life from the underground.
Yeah.
I think we don't realize that. It's running your systems, and it's underground, and we're not even always consciously aware of it.
Well, or you are. And that's
if you get quiet.
And that's your strategy, is to make it go away, right? Your strategy is, even if it's for a minute
until
or an
it
hour.
stops working.
Yeah.
Until it stops working. Until you find that you have less and less friendships because you don't want to, or uncomfortable by the idea of emotional intimacy with people, until your marriage starts to sort of. I was just watching, you guys know I like my Real Housewives. It's my guilty pleasure at night when I want to turn my brain off. And I only watch a couple of them now. Actually, Rhode Island is, wow, these Rhode Island women.
I thought you liked London.
I like London. I like the ladies of London. I do like London. And I like Rhode Island. Never thought I would, because I'm Italian, they're Italian, and not gonna lie, I don't feel like I can relate to them because I feel like I'm a little bit more of a refined, sophisticated Italian.
Wow.
Some of these, oh my gosh, you saw Rhode Island. I mean, it's like, no offense to New Jersey and Rhode Island, but many ways I don't relate. They have like mafia backgrounds, and I like the way they talk, though. I do like those Rhode Island accents. I don't know why am I talking to you about this right now. I totally got distracted, went off on a tangent about
It's entertaining. Keep going.
about housewives.
I have no idea. Go for it, though.
It'll come back to me. But I completely went off on a tangent, and I was going to make a point, and I just totally forgot the point. But so there you go. One of the point is, you guys, I do think that the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Rhode Island, I do like that. Beverly Hills is getting a little, Amanda Francis, the money manifestor, she's basically a money coach because she wants to be, what is her tagline? Rich as fuck. Like, okay, whatever. I have had a coach like that. I had a coach like that years ago, and it's interesting. And I think that's why I don't really care for Amanda that much on the surface in Beverly Hills this season, because she seems so shallow and two-dimensional. I think it triggers me because I had a coach like that. And I gave her thousands and thousands of dollars. And what did she teach me? Nothing. I had to go, and I spent a lot of time paying off that, because I put on my credit card. I spent a lot of time paying off my credit card bill for the money I gave this person. And at the end of the day, she really didn't care. She didn't really teach me skills. She taught me about, like, that you needed to be on social media. You need to be on social media a lot. But when I gave her, like, she would say, I'm going to teach you, you're going to learn your signature method. You're going to learn your signature method. We all had to do our signature method for coaching. And when I did my signature method and wrote it all out based on all my years of experience of coaching and therapy, she could have cared less to see it. And my last coaching session with her, and I said, and I noticed she was avoiding it. We were talking about other things. She kind of had her script, and I'm like, wait, but I paid you. I'm not even going to tell you because I'm embarrassed to tell all of you how much I paid, but it was let's say it was more than $5,000 for like 7 sessions, 7 sessions, a lot more than that. Okay. I was like, wait. This is one of the main reasons why I signed up. I need all that other stuff, but this is the main reason why I signed up to work with you for coaching. And she's like, okay. And I went through it with her. I showed it to her and went through it. This was all on Zoom, but I showed it to her. I think I sent something to her email, and I was holding it up on the screen, and she had all of it. And I was reading, this is my signature method to, air quote, advance my coaching. And she's like, yeah, that's fine. Like, she had nothing to say to me about my air quote signature program, which I actually never did use. I never did anything with it because went ahead then, had to get another coach who was amazing, who completely took me off of that. I'd come off the rails. I was so upset, and she really helped me get myself back on track. And she was disgusted at also the money I'd paid. So anyways, that's why I think Beverly Hills is interesting, but I think that one person is interesting because I really wonder what is she really doing for these people? I mean, I don't know if you need to pay thousands of dollars to manifest money. Sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. It's the truth. I don't think you need to manifest. Spend thousands of dollars to pay somebody. So, if you're going to pay somebody to coach you, make sure they have legitimate skills that they are going to teach you, that they have training, and they really can help guide you and help you with mindset changes. But they have skills, they have schooling, they've done the work. Okay. Really important for all of you. And it doesn't have to be me. Whoever you're looking at, I would tell all of you, do your due diligence in who you hire. Okay. And as therapists too, do your due diligence. Check them out. Go to their website. Go look at them on social media. See if you like their personality. See if there's somebody you think you can relate to. See if there's somebody that you think you might be able to share emotionally with. Because therapy and coaching, for me, it's emotionally intimate. It's psychologically intimate. I really get to know my clients. We really it's such a wonderful relationship. Make sure, even if you reach out to me for discovery calls, make sure that I'm a fit for you. Okay. Really, really important.
I mean, it's 2026.
Yeah.
Right? There's really no excuse to not take the time to go find what you need to find out there on somebody's business, somebody's referral, like
Tim,
a testimonial. I think it's there for you.
I
All
know.
you gotta do is find it.
But here's the thing. I think we are so busy in our lives today. And I tell people that, and they go, oh, God, okay, I don't really feel like doing that. I think that we're so busy. We just want the magic bullet. We just want the answer. What I have found is that people take the time to do it when they hit a place of being in a lot of pain, like psychic pain, like emotional pain. That's when people are like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to interview. I'm going to check people out. But I think, unfortunately, for all of us, and I wish all of us would be different, all of you would be different about this. I think that people are like, especially women, we will white knuckle it. We will white knuckle our lives. We will white knuckle the situations in our lives. We'll white knuckle that our relationships are falling apart, that we don't know what the hell we want to do 5 years from now, that our relationship with our kids is not good. My son is my kids are high all the time. They're always smoking. They're always vaping. My marriage is falling apart. I hate my job. I think I want another career, but I have no idea what. It takes people to be in some kind of pain before they reach out for coaching. And I say this all the time, and therapy. And I used to say this all the time, especially with my couples. And I was doing quite a bit of couples therapy. You all should have been here 4 years ago. And the same with therapy clients. More couples in therapy than individual, but I see with coaching clients, you should have been here a year ago.
Yeah.
But for some reason, us women don't think we air quote deserve it. We'll pay all kinds of money for our kids. And I was guilty of this too. I'll put all kinds of money into vacations and Starbucks and Whole Foods, but I ain't gonna, this is years ago. I ain't gonna pay for coaching. I'm not getting my own coaching. I'm good.
Or you're not going to pay for good coaching.
You're not going to pay for good coaching.
Yeah.
Or until you're like, you're done. Like I can't keep doing this anymore.
Yeah.
Then we put the money into it. And I know it's expensive, everybody. I get it. I've been where you are. But I'm telling you, like, that's the thing. Because I was the person who it was easy for me to spend $50 at Banana Republic on a cute shirt or go through Starbucks drive through or have a yummy lunch or dinner with my friends. Like, I had no money, but I did all that. And then I realized, stop doing that. And I started bringing a lunch to my office, stopped going to Starbucks. Sometimes I would indulge and buy Starbucks bagged coffee at the grocery store. We went back to Folgers, Black Silk, because that's pretty good. But this is what we did. This
Yeah.
is what I did.
Yeah.
Stopped doing all the dinner, started having people over, started doing potluck, bring a dish. And I took that money and I put it into coaching to coach myself to get more advanced. That's what I did.
Right.
You all can do it too. Okay. All right.
So, just for clarity, I think what you've just done unintentionally, and I think it was unintentionally, is you've just given us a real life example of avoidance, right? You just did.
Yeah, you're right. I was avoiding the huge dollar amount that I would have to pay for coaching, which I knew I needed.
Right.
And then I went to that coach, y'all. This is years ago. That coach who took thousands and thousands of dollars from me. I was kind of a mess.
Yeah.
I remember going on a walk with you and I didn't, on total transparency, truth time, which I am truthful with you guys, but sometimes I have to watch the players in my life who don't want their names mentioned or the situations mentioned. But this is you and me. This is me. Yeah, I paid for her and she didn't teach me anything. And I didn't tell you, Tim, you know this. I didn't tell you that I put it on the credit card.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until we were going on a walk months later that I was all stressed out because nothing had happened. It ended with her. She was like, bye, done with you, got my money. And I remember her saying she would get so happy about all the money she made getting people to join her group coaching or individual coaching, her individual coaching people, because she would brag about the house she bought, the second home she bought on the ocean. And she made, I think, 7 figures. She would brag about this to all of us. It was kind of like, this is what you can be. This is what you can do. I felt like it was an infomercial. It felt like all these griftery people. And we were all like, oh. But then when I went to go to show her my program, she didn't care about it, gave her thousands of dollars, didn't tell you, and then told you on a walk one day. And you were like, what?
Yeah.
You did what? You spent what? And I spent more than a year paying down that credit card bill. I spent more than a year, everybody. So there you go. So that's what I did, like a major mistake. I went and paid for somebody and I thought I had done my homework. I listened to her on podcasts. I seen her on YouTube she's a public speaker speaking. But when it came to coaching me, she was awful.
Right.
And I gave her, and all she cared about was, she talked about getting rich, making a crap ton of money, getting rich. And well, she got rich out of all of us.
Absolutely.
And she didn't give me. Yeah, it was terrible.
And I think one of the things you figured out was like, what is it should you be researching, right? You were researching her. How does she speak? Who cares, right? How does she sound on a podcast? Who cares?
I got on a discovery call with her and she guilted me. I remember she really gave me a hard time. She was a saleswoman.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize until after I was working with her that she came from a sales background. She was very good at sales. And I was in a really vulnerable, low point in my life at that time because there was a terrible illness in my family. And I was needing to make more money. And I wanted to figure out a way I really wanted to advance my coaching skills. I thought she was the one to do it. She wasn't, looking back in hindsight. But at that time, I thought she was the one. And I was in a vulnerable place. And she actually would not get off the Zoom call she would not get off the Zoom call. And I was like, I'm terrible at
And I think that's
terrible at sales.
That's the flashing red light already right there.
Yeah.
I don't know that you need to go any farther than
my coaching clients, my discovery call people who become clients of mine.
Yeah.
There's none of this. Just so you know, I don't do any of there's none of this. I don't do it's like we're either fit or we're not, and you can spend the money or you can't. And I'm not going to try to convince you to have me coach you because I have a conscience. I would feel terrible if you truly I mean, I understand doing payment plans and I've thought to myself, all right, I could pay this off the next 3 months on my credit card because I still get coached. I still pay people. I have to pay people thousands and thousands of dollars to help me like with my business, with my website, with my social media. Like I have to do it,
Yeah.
but I pay it off in increments. This is what I do. You have to do these things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I look back and then I realized, oh, she's from a sales background. She was in the mental health space for a while. She hated it. Like all the red flags I should have paid attention to. She hated mental health. She hated individual therapy. She hated talking to people about their problems. She said it once I became her coaching client. I hated that. I hated it. I didn't want to listen to people's problems all day. I was like, oh my gosh. And then I realized she went way up high in the ranks of Mary Kay
Right.
Cosmetics.
Yeah.
And I know because my former mother-in-law was a Mary Kay Cosmetics consultant. She killed it in Mary Kay Cosmetics. She got the pink car because when you get a certain level in that's an MLM basically. When she got to a certain level at Mary Kay Cosmetics, you get a pink Cadillac or pink. She got a pink car.
It's ugly, whatever it is.
And I knew she had it and I knew what it took for her. I watched her. I saw how she hustled in sales to get that car. And then when this coach told me she got that pink car, it was like, boom, my mind like exploded. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just paid somebody to coach me who is a sales background, who is excellent in sales. And it wasn't hindsight. And I think at some level, you all are probably asking yourself, Anna, why did you do that? Why did you do that? I think while I was vulnerable, I was at a low point in my life. And I think I was hoping beyond hopes that she would still be able to help me. Because she said, and it's true, coaching is all about sales and marketing. Let me tell you, the people that are out there in the coaching space, they're all sales and marketing, sales and marketing, sales and marketing. And I was like, all right, well, okay. And she said it's all about sales and marketing. You have to market yourself. So she didn't say nothing that was not valuable. She did say some things that were valuable. She did.
I mean, she's
not thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth valuable.
Yeah.
But she did say some things.
But I don't think she's necessarily wrong, right? Like it is about sales and marketing because that's how you need to basically put bait in the water to get people to come and be your client.
I'm just not good at it.
But from your perspective, it's all about what's done one-on-one, right?
It's the relationship.
But you have to get there first.
Yeah. It's the relationship and it's me teaching you, and maybe I should be better marketing what it is that I teach that you all don't know about. It is different per each individual. I have my emotional mastery program. That's all about emotion regulation. You know, when people get on calls with me, then I get into the details of what those modules are, what's included.
Yeah.
You know, so discovery coaching people, I tell them everything that's in it. Okay, so we went off on a major digression there. That's also important to talk about too, because there's so many coaches out there. And I think a lot of people like myself years ago, you don't really know what people do. And today you've got a coach for everything. You've got a divorce coach. You've got a parenting coach. You've got a mindset coach. You've got a sports performance coach. You've got a life coach. You've got personal development coaches. That's me. It's like you could coach me my whole life, but people don't, until they realize my background, they're like, well, she's just like everybody else. And I get that. I totally do get that. I understand that. Right.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, for the sake of this episode, which is avoidance, right? Like I think that, so the actual lesson, the takeaway from this is don't get so caught up in trying to like have this complete, because you called it a magic bullet. There's no such thing as
there's no
such, but you called it that, right? Like, I bought this magic bullet and I just wrote you a check for whatever it was, right? So it's not about that. So don't avoid doing the actual homework, the actual research.
I think as a potential coaching client for anybody that you work with in your life, this is coaching, not therapy. Therapy, you don't have homework. Coaching, you have to be coachable. So think about that for yourself. I mean, we talk about this all the time on here, really, but I'll say it once again quickly. You have to be coachable. You have to be willing to be accountable. You have to be willing to do the follow through in the week that your coach gives you. You may have action steps. You may have homework. You have to be willing to take time out of your life to take care of you, give it to you, and do the work. Sometimes my coaching clients have, one thing they have to do that week. Sometimes I have three. My coaching clients, we always agree upon what the homework is going to be, but you have to be able to follow through on yourself. It's a gift you give yourself, but so think about like, am I coachable, right? Therapy, we don't do that. It's a session. The session ends. We meet next week. I don't share my notes with them. I don't give them homework. Every now and then I will, but for the most part, there's no homework. Therapy is very different. It's process oriented. So we do deep dives. My therapy clients there's a lot of trauma there. There's a lot of unresolved childhood issues they have to work on. We can spend weeks and weeks and months on that because they need
Yeah.
to, you know.
Why would you say then somebody that decides to work with a coach, why do they avoid so much? Why do they avoid taking the action steps or taking the advice from the coach to do the work on the action steps?
I
Like, what's
think
that all about?
I think sometimes people don't realize what goes into actually being coached. I think that they are like, yeah, I want that. I do need it. Deep down inside, they do need to do everything. Because if I've taken you on as a client, you need to do this work and I can help you with this. I think it's when they get in there, they're like, oh, I don't really want to do this. It's avoidance. So I'm too busy. I was busy
Yeah,
this
but I'm
week.
just wondering what, like,
Well, 1 week,
why you
1 week
wrote
or
that
2 weeks,
check?
1 or 2 weeks of that, like,
Yeah.
okay, you really are busy. Actually, your kids have been sick and something's going on with work. But when it's a pattern, like we talked about patterns the last few weeks, when it's a
Yeah.
pattern, I'm like, okay, what's really going on here? I have to really scale it back as your coach. And we're having that conversation about what's really happening here. Very rarely does that happen to me anymore in my practice. Rarely, because I'm sussing that out. I'm interviewing that through in the discovery coaching. Because,
Yeah.
some people have all kinds of money. Money's not an issue for them. Like, yeah, here's my credit card, whatever it is. And they can pay the money. And I think sometimes some people, by the fact that they paid for something, they're getting coached. It makes them feel better, like I'm being coached. But when they really do go to work with me, they're like, oh, there's more to this. I have homework to do, or I have to look at that. I don't want to look at that, Anna. And they realize when they're in it, oh, I don't want to do this. Or they realize, and I realize, you're not ready for this right now. You're
Yeah.
not. You thought you were ready, and you're really not ready.
So probably the reason that they're there in the first place, right, is because
they want something to change.
right. And so then you get them to the point where they need to like do this, but that's the thing they haven't been able to do all along, which is
Yeah.
why they came to you to begin with.
And I do my best to interview for that.
Yeah.
Did the coaching call, but I don't always know for you because I'm not a mind reader. I don't always know for you if this is a fit or not a fit. And I obviously, if I take you on, I think it's a fit.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's like the third weekend and I'm realizing, oh, geez, what is going on? And hey, no judgment. I'm only throwing compassion your way. I mean, no judgment. Sometimes we don't know until we're in it. Like, oh, I can't do this. I don't want to do this.
Yeah. So I would think that you probably could almost predict that they're going to get to that point and then avoid with the action steps, like, right? Like, because they've
Not
done
always.
it. You've
No, not
seen
always.
it. Well, not
No, I
always,
don't.
but in your head, you'd be like, well, that's why you're here to begin with, is that you avoid this. So we're going to get to the point where I'm going to tell you how to do it or what to do. The next thing, I mean, if it was me and I was you, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't do it. It'd be like, well, that's why you're here to begin with.
I suss that out in the coaching call. So it just rarely happens.
Really?
Rarely happens. That's what I'm saying. It's like seriously, like like it really is something that, because they know when they work with me in a discovery call, and maybe by even listen, many people listen to the podcast. They know from listening to this conversation, like, okay,
Yeah.
if I'm going to reach out to Anna and I want to work with her, that, I'm okay, let's go. I'm ready to be coached. You know what I mean? Like you talk about like triathletes, with your triathlete community.
Yeah.
You show up to these Wednesday night runs and we're doing hill repeats. Most people, 9.5 out of the 10 of the people that are there, all doing the workout and they all doing hill repeats. You've got like one person every now and then who's like, I can't do it. And you're like, oh, you don't really know them very well. And they're like, you're like, I'm injured. You're like, all right, well then you just walk or you just jog. You don't run up the hill. You know what I mean? You work it for them.
Yeah.
But and then that person, like the second week doesn't come. And then the third week is like, I hurt this other part of my other knee now. And you're like, okay, at some point you start to be like, all right, like, why are they're here because they want to socialize. They love the social time we have, like yucking it up with each other before we go on the run.
Yeah.
But they really don't want to do the work. That's exact same thing I have in life coaching.
Yeah.
But it's a rare person for you. It's a rare person for me. I am able to suss it out in the beginning,
Yeah.
in the discovery coaching. And I have even said to people, I don't think that I'm a great fit for you. And I don't think that this is what you need right now. Sometimes I tell people, I think you need to do some therapy first. And you're not in Illinois, so I can't be your therapist because I'm only licensed in this state. So, you're in Texas. You go find a therapist, do the therapeutic work you need because you got trauma that needs to be looked at. Then come to me. Like I'm able to see it now. I've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
Very rarely will I have somebody who I'm like, oh, geez, this is not a good coaching client.
Yeah. Well, just for perspective. So, I mean, I see it often, right? Like I see it almost.
You see it with your swimmers.
Well, I see it. Yeah. I see it with a lot. Well, not even. So I see it with people that do dry land. Like I know
To
this.
explain to people don't know what dry land is.
Well, any type of like fitness that we do that is got a strategy. So for swimmers, we do certain exercises on dry land, right? In a weight room, in a no, I won't say CrossFit, but like in like a cross training space, right? But I know that like I got visuals right now of faces, like in groups that I have right now. Like I know that you are not a big fan of core. And every time that core exercises come up, you're going to need that extra little push literally every single time. Every single week. I know when the core comes up, you're like, oh gosh, I know that
you're doing planks and you're like, get your butt down.
Yeah. I know that this person doesn't like to swim fast, right? So every time we put a clock to a swimming set, I know that this person's going to have a problem with that. And we're going to need to push.
Yeah.
So that's why I asked you that question, because I got to imagine that you kind of know, you can kind of predict like, ooh, I know this particular thing, this skill that I'm trying to coach you on. I know that's tough for you. And I'm going to have to, as a coach, like give you a little bit extra insight.
Well,
on
that's
yourself.
different. Those are actually really good coaching clients. That's different because that's a lot of what I do.
Yeah.
And we have this trusting relationship and I get to know them and I know what's hard for them.
Yeah.
And we're speaking and they tell me what's hard for them. But that's different. That's a very different relationship of I'm going to coach you up on that. Like, exactly. Like, it's gonna take many sessions for you to get some improvement and to maybe you're somebody who's an avoider and you need to have these hard conversations with your mother-in-law, with your sister-in-law, with your husband, with your wife, with your coworker, your boss.
Yeah.
And it's taking some coaching sessions with me to get you to a place. I just did this yesterday. I actually wrote out the script for her. She dictated, I wrote it, we did it together.
Yeah.
And then together we went through it and we went through the script of what she's going to say to her boss. Like we actually did this. And we spent weeks talking about this, working on it. And yesterday was the day when we actually wrote it out together. That's a different relationship. That's somebody who is actually going to do the work. She's just really afraid and really nervous. That's workable. That's coachable.
But is that the reason she came to you initially, or was there more to it? Like,
she's been with me for a while.
What brought her in the door?
This is not it.
Okay.
This is not it. She came to me for a completely different issue, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Something we're not even talking about anymore.
Interesting.
Because she resolved it.
Yeah.
She's real good with it.
Yeah.
And then she just stayed in coaching with me because she realized I love coaching. I need this for more than just that one area of my life that I reached out to Anna for 2 years ago.
There you go.
And now we're talking about all kinds of things in her life that she's working on improving.
Okay.
Which is the coolest relationship.
Okay.
All right, let's go on. So why do high functioning people avoid? And most of us, and I'm here to tell you, if you didn't know this, most of you are high functioning, especially women. I work with women who are and men, mostly women who are really capable. They're responsible people. They're the people who have it together. I mean, these are people who they have it together. They didn't learn avoidance by accident, right? I mean, they learned to be strong, to be easy, be the easy one, fine. They learned to be low maintenance. They learned also don't be too much. Don't be too much. Don't be drama. Don't bring drama. So they became really, really good at functioning and functioning well, but what happens is many of these people disconnected themselves from their own feelings. All right. So let's talk about when avoidance turns into disconnection. All right. And this is what I said at the very beginning of this episode, which if you're still here, I'm glad you're still here because this is a really important piece that I need to talk about. Now I'm going to bring in a little bit of the clinical psychological piece, which is more therapeutic, okay, than coaching. People who are coaches who are not trained mental health people really ought to not be so much talking about this. So there's another layer here that I think a lot of people in the coaching space are not talking about, shouldn't be talking about. And any good ethical coach is not going to even go into this with you. At a certain point, this isn't just about avoiding feelings. It becomes not fully being in your experience at all. You're not in your experience at all. And that's called dissociation. So there's avoidance and there's dissociation. Dissociation is a clinical term. Okay. It's actually it's a diagnosis. And this is important because for me, who's worked in trauma for years and a quarter to a third of my practice is therapy, I still see this in my therapy side of the practice. These are people who have trauma background. So this is a trauma therapist. And I don't like trauma informed coaching. That's my bias. I personally think coaches shouldn't be doing anything with people of trauma. I think that the ethical coach is referring you to a psychotherapist, a licensed mental health person who is trained and knows how to treat trauma, because trauma is so, so tricky. You could be a trauma therapist for 10 years and still need consultation around your trauma clients. It's that tricky, okay? And I take it seriously and I think it's heavy. All right. And there's a lot of weight. And I think you really need to know how to work with someone who's got a trauma background. PTSD, which is big, the big T trauma, even some of the little T traumas, okay? All right. So these are not just extreme cases. I mean, just dissociation, it's on a spectrum. Okay. So, and most of us are on it at times in our lives. There are times, and that might be what I said, the little T traumas. All right. So in everyday life, what does dissociation look like? It can be feeling numb instead of emotional. So you completely just numb out instead of being emotional about something. It can be going blank when things get intense. And I've seen it in my office. I mean, you see like the eyes, the body, it just goes blank. It's a trauma response.
Mm.
Zoning out in conversations. Someone's having a tough conversation. You're in a conversation and you start to dissociate and it's just zoning out. Actually go to another place, feeling disconnected from your body. The person goes to another place. They zone out and their body is sitting in the chair like across from me, but they have no connection to it. So that's where somatic work comes in. And for them, they can't do the somatic work. They can't allow themselves to answer a question, where do you feel in your body? They're not in their body. They're not feeling anything because they ain't there. They are gone.
Yeah.
Right? They move through their life on autopilot. That's its dissociative response. Just remember, on the outside, you would never know it. This is their own personal experience. You wouldn't know that they were on autopilot. They tell me this in my office, or you hear about it in group work, right? Sometimes they would say, like, I know I should feel something about this. I know I should feel something, Anna. That's what people tell me. That's what I've read. That's what I've seen. I listen to a podcast. I just don't. I don't feel anything around that.
Mm.
It can be, for some people, very subtle, and it's adaptive. They've learned to adapt to trauma, and it's their dissociation. All
Yeah.
right. So why does it happen? Well, it's a survival response. I mean, dissociation is just how that person has learned to survive. All right. So, trauma doesn't have to be just one big event in someone's life, right? For many people, it can look like emotions were not safe or welcome when you were growing up in your family of origin. Maybe you had to be the strong one. Maybe there was chronic stress or chronic unpredictability in your life, your home life as a child or an adolescent. It just never, it was unpredictable, and it was chronic in that it was always unpredictable. And you just never knew when the other shoe was going to drop. You never knew when somebody was going to come home drunk. You never knew when somebody would be manic or depressed. You didn't know when the mania was going to end and the depression would kick in. You didn't know when the euphoric, let's go shopping, let's take a trip, let's go here, let's go there, let's have sex all the time. I had great ideas. I was up all night. I'm writing this book. Like, this is what I thought. And then you come home from school as a child, and now mom's in bed.
Yeah.
Now she hasn't eaten in days. The lights are out. You can't even see her. There's a lump in the bed. There's mom. And that goes on for, you don't know when that's going to end. You don't know if you like, this is bipolar. You don't know if you like the mania better or the depression better.
Mm.
But all you know is that you can't predict when it's going to happen and when it's going to stop and when the other shoe's going to drop.
Yeah.
That is somebody, as the adult child, who may dissociate in their life today, because that's what they grew up with. You never knew when so-and-so was going to come home drunk. You never knew when you were going to get woken up as a 7-year-old at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning to your dad screaming because so-and-so is not home, or walk through the door and can't even stand up straight because your older brother or sister is just hammered again. That is someone who, as an adult, they might dissociate. When you hear these stories, there are times when I have heard these stories when people have left my office and I just, like it happened last week, and I had tears in my eyes. Like I like needed a break. And I had another client right after that. And I had to get up and kind of walk around and like, ooh, like I had to like shake my energy
Yeah.
because my energy was still on the client from the hour before. And well, we had talked about her trauma and moving. She's moving out of her dissociation. We're doing this trauma work together. And I'm like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And I just felt for her. That's a good example of why people dissociate, because of where they came from and what they remembered and what they saw and why they can't feel today. Because feelings are so freaking scary, right? So what your system learned as an adult, feeling this is too much. And that's why it's so important to be in a safe, trusting relationship with a therapist. In my case, me, who's doing this with her. But instead, what you do is for years, you disconnect. You just disconnect from how you feel because your system's not broken. For all of you who have experienced this or experienced it, your system is not broken. Your system is actually really brilliant at protecting you. It's protecting you right now. That's why you're dissociating, because you can't do it on your own. You need help with it. So your system's going, all right, we're going to go into shutdown mode because this is what we need to do for us to move through our days, to survive, really. Okay, so what does it look like in adulthood? And this is where it can get a little tricky for people because it doesn't look like dysfunction. It looks like like I've said, you're the highly capable one, but you're emotionally flat.
Mm.
You're the achiever, but you don't feel fulfilled. You're present physically, you're there for all the things, right? But you're not emotionally engaged with people around you. You struggle with emotional intimacy with your friends and your family members. You just struggle with intimacy. And it looks like you not knowing what you feel. And that's one of the first questions with my therapy clients around this is that they say, I don't know what I feel. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't really remember that time in my life, and I don't know what I feel about it. Here's the truth. You cannot create deep connection from a place of disconnection. More importantly, from yourself than with others, but yes, with others. You can't have connection if you're deeply disconnected from yourself, right?
Right.
So, okay, I want to talk about the distinction again, avoidance versus dissociation. So, and this distinction, it does matter. So, avoidance says, I don't want to feel this, which is many, many, many of us. I don't want to feel this. Dissociation says, I can't feel this. I can't feel it. I really can't feel it. Right. So, avoidance is more behavioral and dissociation is nervous system driven. All right. So, I hope that helps all of you. Avoidance is more behavioral. It's probably more to the surface. Dissociation is nervous system driven. It's deep, 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 and it's more trauma related. So, over time, chronic avoidance can train your system into disconnection. You get disconnected from yourself and others if you just are chronically avoiding. All right. So what do we do instead? What do we do? Let's move on into.
Let me ask a couple questions.
Okay.
So just so everybody's clear. So avoidance, someone could come to you as a coach. Anybody could come to somebody as a coach and try and work on an avoidance situation that they have. At some point, it might be discovered that it's disassociation, right? It's possible.
Yeah,
right?
I can see it.
You could see it. Can all coaches see it?
No.
Or so all coaches can't
No.
see it?
Coaches might see it, but they may not understand what it is.
Yeah.
If they're not trained in trauma.
Right.
And most are
because
not.
you're talking about dissociation is a diagnosis that all of a sudden that turns into therapy, which potentially turns into insurance and all the things that could potentially go with that, right? So coaching stays over here and then dissociation brings you over on this half
into
of the conversation.
Psychotherapy side. Most coaches, they might not know it when they see it. They just know something is off. Coaches like me who are also licensed mental health people, they may see it and know it and know how to even treat it.
Right.
I see it. I have seen dissociation when, I'm asking a question about getting to know a client, asking questions and talking about a situation maybe. And oftentimes it's so interesting. It's not what brings a person to therapy. they don't know they're dissociating. That's not why they're coming. They're
Right.
coming for other reasons in their life. And then when I'm getting into their history
Yeah.
and really it's the know, like, and trust, they really trust me. We have psychological safety and I have a deeper relationship with them. Then I start to see there's trauma. Sometimes they don't even know they have trauma.
Okay.
This is all therapy. And, you know, I remember having a client many years ago talking about something. I mean, I've been seeing her for months and it was a good relationship that we had. And I was asking her something about something that happened in her 20s. And I watched her. She didn't realize she was doing it. And I'm watching her sitting across from me. I never forget we were sitting in my office. This was way before COVID. And she sat close. She would sit. There were different chairs. You could sit. It was a couch. I had a sectional couch. I sat in my chair, like I had a swivel chair, and I sat in front of the sectional, and there was a chair to my left. Most people came in and sat on the couch. Some people came and sat in the chair that was much closer to me. It was interesting. It was always such an interesting study in why people chose to sit where they sat in my office. And it was mostly okay. So she sat in the chair, which was closer to me, and we were talking about. She started going to a trauma, something that happened to her when she was younger in her early 20s, and she was starting to tell the story. And I watched her completely, like almost like a robotically tell me the story.
Mm.
And I watched her totally dissociate. And this is not uncommon, but this is just what stands out for me in this moment. Totally dissociate really from her body. It was like a robotic telling of something that happened. That's the only way she could tell the story. That's the only way that she could go back to that trauma and tell me the story. She could not be in her body and in her feelings about it.
Yeah.
That's the only way. And that was the beginning of her moving out of dissociation and starting to process her trauma. But to tell the story, she needed to dissociate. So it was serving her. She needed to. She could never tell that horrible story and that horrible memory unless she dissociated.
Yeah.
And then over time with our relationship, she was able to really kind of feel her feelings about it, be in it. It was a lot of work we did together. And that was trauma therapy.
So she never, is it possible for a person to kind of like realize like, oh, I've gone a different way with my.
She'd never talked about it before and she
Yeah.
didn't know she was dissociating.
Yeah.
I told her. I had another client who was also, these are all trauma clients. There had another client who was dealing with the trauma. She knew she had been in therapy before, so she knew she was dissociating. I said it. She goes, I know I'm doing it. So we both knew it, that's what she was doing. And she needed to continue to dissociate until she could, you get there when you get there. And she needed to do that. That was what she was holding on to cope.
Yeah.
Until she was able to move beyond it. And there were different techniques that I used to get her out of her dissociation from her trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I just think, so we're talking to, who knows who we're talking to right now out there in the world. But like, I think if you hear this conversation, right, and you're in that camp of like, am I avoiding, am I disassociating? I'm like, maybe this will be something that you can like take with you and be like, okay, I need to consider that this could be this.
At some level, I think, I always believe, because I had a consultant supervisor say this to me 30 years ago. She said to me, Anna, I think I just had so much respect for her. I mean, she was like a senior level master's therapist who taught at Northwestern. And she's just so smart and had run this very successful practice. And I was in awe of her. And she also just would give me pearls of wisdom and these nuggets and pearls of wisdom. And she said to me, and I was just starting out my private practice. She said, Anna, I believe clients know it all. They know it all about themselves. You're there to help them bring it out. You're maybe the vessel through which they will bring it out, especially with trauma. Like, and I firmly believe that. And I'm like, yes. So I am the vessel. I'm the person who's just there. And I tell my clients this all the time, and even my coaching clients, I'm here walking with you in your life.
Yeah.
I want you to visualize me walking with you on this journey. For this time in your life, I'm here. And I will walk beside you. And sometimes I walk beside you and I put my hand on your shoulder and I say, okay, for example, Joe, go do this. And this is me as your coach. Go. You got this. Go. Let's go. You can do it. And I'm always there with you. I don't walk in front of you. I don't tell you what to do, especially as a therapist. Sometimes in a trusting coaching relationship, I can say, Joe, you're ready for this. You're there. Are we here, Anna? Are we here? You're here. You're there. Go. Let's get it done. Go.
Yeah.
But it's always with this unconditional positive regard that I have for you. And it's always with support and warmth and empathy. Coaching clients, I'm direct with you, and you all know that. I'm going to say, you're here now. Let's go. And I don't walk behind you. I'm always there with you. And my clients, they know it all about themselves. And that's true. So when it comes to avoidance is, I would say, I don't want to say it's lesser, but it's not dissociation. Dissociation is a trauma. You don't have to have trauma to be an avoider. I avoid things in my life. You avoid things in your life. They're uncomfortable. And
Sure.
it's not less, it's different. Avoidance says, I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel this.
Yeah.
But with some work, you can feel it. Dissociation is, I don't want to feel it because I'm going to fall apart. I don't want to peel away the layers of the onion, Anna, because I'm going to fall undone. I was thinking about that book, She's Come Undone, which was popular in the 90s. She's Come Undone. I might come undone. So you don't peel away the layers of the onion, or you don't pull on the string of yarn for somebody to come undone if you don't know how to treat dissociation or trauma, because you can do damage to somebody. That's deep.
Yeah.
That's why I get crazy about coaches who are trauma informed, because I don't think you know what you're doing unless you are trained. And I think you need to be a licensed mental health person.
Yeah.
All right. So avoidance is, I don't want to feel it, but I don't have trauma. I can feel it. I'm just avoiding it. And we can talk about that. I don't have some sort of numbness inside of me. I don't have early childhood issues. I didn't grow up like that, Anna. I didn't grow up like everything you just said in that podcast. I didn't grow up there was no mental health or drug or alcohol addictions in my family. I mean, I grew up in a pretty happy home. Yeah, we had stuff. Everybody has stuff. We had dysfunction. Every family has dysfunction. But I didn't have that. I'm not a war veteran. I didn't have assault happen to me. I didn't see assault.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that
I'm very much generalizing everybody too right now.
Well, of course. I think so that helps, the person, the potential client, kind of steer themselves towards what they need.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Like I need to find a coach, or I need to go to therapy.
Yeah, I need,
right?
Exactly. I don't have that. Remember, dissociation is nervous system driven. So you could say, no, I don't have that.
Yeah.
I mean, I am avoiding things in my life, but I need coaching up on this. Or you're right. Like, oh, okay. Yeah. I think we know it. Like I said, my former consultant said to me, I think deep down inside, we know it. Like, I do need therapy. I need therapy around this.
Right.
Because I think you all are the specialists in your life. You are the experts in your life. You're the experts in your interior world, your inner living, your inner feeling and thinking. You are the experts. At the end of this, and maybe already now, you know what you need for yourself. Okay. So, all right. So what do we do? What do we do rather than avoiding? Let's move into the what to do's now. I mean, you don't fix this by forcing yourself to feel all your feelings. I wouldn't tell you to do that. Now, feel everything. No. You work on avoidance by building capacity. Okay. So here are your steps. I'm going to move into your steps and your power move. So number one, I want you to catch your pattern. All right. So, notice how you avoid. Like I said earlier, is it keeping yourself busy? Is it overthinking? Are you numbing yourself out? You can't change what you don't see, right? You got to see it first. All right. So I want you to, like we talked about patterns the last couple of weeks. If you've been listening to podcasts, you know this, catch your pattern. Next step, I want you to pause, right? I want you to, when you feel the urge to distract yourself or to react, I want you to respond. I want you to pause. I don't want you to distract yourself. I don't want you to numb out, not with drinking, not with food, not with, streaming, the reality TV shows for hours and hours on end. No, don't do that. All right. I want you to pause. Even pausing for 10 seconds matters. It's better than you not pausing at all. All right. Next, I want you to name the emotion, not I'm stressed. I'm stressed out. I'm stressed. All right. No. We're not doing that. You got to get a little bit more, like I say to my clients, you can't say I'm fine. You can't say I'm okay. You can't say I'm good. You can't say I'm stressed. I'm going to pull on that thread with you. And I'm going to ask you to get a little bit more detailed in telling me how you feel and telling yourself how you feel. And for those of you who don't know how you feel, I would suggest you just Google all the different feeling states and Google the different feelings. You can come up. I have a feeling wheel I give to my clients because some of us really have not worked on really or know how to decipher and put words to the different feelings that we have. You can go online, I mean, and you can look at that for yourself and really look at, oh, these are words I didn't know. So you say, instead, I feel disappointed. I feel hurt. I'm feeling dejected. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling pensive because I can't get this thought out of my mind. There you go. Now you're starting. You're starting to get better at naming the emotion that's going on inside of you. And naming the emotion is starting to help you regulate. Okay.
Right.
And then I want you to stay with it just briefly. All right. In the beginning, I don't want you, don't run away immediately from the feeling that you just named. Try to stay for 10 or 30 seconds with it. Just sit with it. Okay. Just sit with the feeling. Let it be there. You can time yourself 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds. All right. That's how you start to build tolerance. That's how you start to move away from avoidance, avoiding your feelings, to learning to build capacity is by building tolerance to it. Okay. And if you feel numb, I want you to work on grounding yourself, not thinking. Okay. I want you to move out of getting out of your head and I want you to get into your heart. Okay. I want you to work into, okay. So if you're disconnected, here we go. So this is what we do a lot with people. I do with my clients with anxiety. I want you to notice 5 things you see. This is a grounding technique. 5 things you see. I want you to feel your feet on the ground. So put both your feet on the floor. If you're crossed legs, if you're sitting, you're up on your couch, sit up straight, put your feet on the ground. I'm doing it right now. And I want you to notice 5 things you see. And I want you to put your feet on the floor.
Okay.
Both feet. And I want you to touch something physical. Touch the table. Touch the person you're with. Touch something, touch your pet, and they come back into your body, not your thoughts. Okay. So notice 5 things you see, name them to yourself in your mind, feel your feet on the ground. I want you to touch something physical. This is a real quick, abbreviated grounding technique. And I want you to come back into your body, feel your body, not your thoughts. And you can do that for 30 seconds. Okay. And I want you to start working at the edge. Work at the edge. Not overwhelming, just enough. That's where your change is going to happen. All right. Work on the edge of avoidance. Don't overwhelm yourself. Like we just said, we're just doing enough. 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds of not avoiding. That's where you're going to start to change. All right. Next,
So you're kind of chipping away.
You're chipping away and moving out of avoidance
Yeah.
into feeling what's in your body and in your heart.
Okay.
All right. I want you to drop the judgment. If you are at all going to yourself, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? Why is this hard for me? Anna's talking about this, and why is this hard for me? No. There's no room for judgment. There's no room for the question of what's wrong with me. Instead, say, okay, this makes sense for me. I've listened, and this does make sense for me. This is me. This is a lot of my life. That shift in throwing yourself grace and compassion starts to change everything for you. Okay. It does. You're starting the work of changing, moving out of avoidance. All right. So, avoidance is why you're feeling stuck in your life, even when you're doing everything, air quote, right. And for some of you, it's gone one step further. For some of you, it is more of a dissociation. It's not just avoiding your feelings. You've actually lost access to them and you don't know how to access them. And that's not, you're not broken. No. You're not broken. It's at some point in your life, that was the safest thing. Your body, your mind knew what to do. It's how it protected you, okay, from something that was very threatening to you in your environment and in your life, right? So thank your body and thank your mind for that. Now we're going to try, hopefully, you will try to maybe, when you're ready, move out of dissociation and get you more connected in your life. If you're avoidant, you can more easily do that work and get you once again more connected in your life, right? And real change in your life, everybody. So this is insight. Real change does not really happen from just the insight of listening to this podcast or watching it, right? So I'm giving you all these insights in this knowledge and insight. Okay, that's wonderful. That's your first step. But real change for you is going to come from feeling, particularly with this episode, learning to feel safely, gradually, in honesty, in doing the behavioral techniques I just gave you, all right, to move out of just the insight. That's where change really happens, all right? So here are your power moves. Identify your go-to pattern. What's your go-to pattern? Notice when you feel numb versus when you feel overwhelmed. Pause instead of reacting. Name one real emotion every day. I want you to ground into your body when you start to feel disconnected. All right. You can do that for 15 seconds. Replace judgment of yourself with, okay, this makes sense as to why I do this. All right. So if you're listening to this and you're realizing that you have been living in your head instead of living your life, this is exactly the work I do with my coaching clients. All right. And if you're someone who's realizing that this is dissociation, that's trauma work that needs to be looked at. Look for a therapist in your state. If you're in Illinois, I'm right here. You can reach out to me. Let's get on a call, make an appointment with me. Okay. Let's come see me in my home office, or we can do it on virtually.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're coaching, I can see you virtually anywhere in the world. I have clients all over the place. All right. And don't hesitate. Okay. This might be your call. This is your call. This is your sign to get on a discovery call and work with me. Okay. This is not just insight. It's not just talking. I am going to teach you the real tools to help you reconnect with yourself and with others in your life, to regulate yourself and actually change how you feel and how you show up in your life. Right. I mean, you can, and you reach out to me directly. The information's in the show notes. It's hello@annamarcolene.com. That's my email. You can find it on my website. You can find it in the show notes. And I'm here. Okay.
Don't
All right.
avoid
So this is what's
right.
that?
Don't avoid it.
Don't avoid it. Don't avoid it. This is your call. This is your sign to get on a call with
Right.
me. Sign up for individual
Yeah.
or my group coaching cohort that's coming up. Get in here. I want to meet you, and we're gonna work with you, and I'm gonna teach you one-on-one. You will not regret it. Your life will be changed. Guarantee it. Okay. Mad love, everyone. Hope this was helpful. And until next week, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. 5 stars. Bye.